So when my daughter texted my husband and I, and she was in the closet, and there was someone in the school with a gun, the first thing that I asked, "Where are you?" And she said, "I'm in the closet. Where's the grown up? Are you in the closet in the class?" So I'm trying to ask all the questions. And truthfully, in that instance, I was going back to my professional active shooter training. Okay, thinking, have they barricaded the door? Are they by windows? Is she somewhere where if someone got in the class that she can easily get out? So I'm in mom mode, but I'm also in professional mode at the time. And I'm asking my daughter those types of questions, right? But also trying to have a calm thing. And hey, is your ringer off on your phone? Make sure your ringer's off. And then I felt some sense of comfort when she said, "Oh, this is just such and such that has the gun. They had a problem with this person," because most of the time the children know. And so by then they're on their social media and they're inboxing each other saying, "Hey, this is what's going on. Such and such told on them." So that gave me a sense of relief that it wasn't someone trying to hurt all of the children in the school, but an isolated incident. As a mom, what's still daunting in that and frightening is that we know that bullets have no name on them. So even if this is a child that's intent is to just harm one person, you can inadvertently harm thousands of people, including my child.
This is
Angela Reason. For me, growing up in Midtown, which my mother and my grandmother's generation called it North Newport News, my generation and younger, we do not consider it North Newport News. I grew up in a neighborhood where all of our grandparents knew each other, all of our parents went to school with each other, and then all of us went to school with each other. And so when I hear Midtown, the first thing that comes to mind is family. I got married very young. So a year out of high school, I had my first child and I was already married. And we were in church 10 days a week. So my entire 20s, I was doing the mom thing. I had my oldest daughter at 19 and then my middle child when I was 23. So my entire adult life, I have been raising children, which was why I did not want to have any children in my 30s. And so my first two children are girls and my husband wanted a boy. He would have been the last reason in his family. So he wanted a boy. His dad wanted a boy. And I was like, look, I am not having anything in my 30s because my whole 20s was spent with kids. I already knew my whole 30s would be spent with kids. And then, my early 40s, it's like, I'm out of there. And so I said, I'm not having anything after 30. And I always laugh and joke and say, my husband must have sent some serious prayers up because when I found out I was pregnant with him, it was 2 days after my due date, was 2 days after my 30th birthday. So he just snuck in there. He just snuck in there. Yep. And I ended up having him October 2nd. So 6 days prior to my 30th birthday. Yep. So, he snuck in there. I have three children, one in elementary whose school is in the middle of the city. The oldest, who's a senior, her school is in the very, very tip of the city, like right on the Williamsburg-York County border. My middle child school is all the way downtown in the most eastern part of Newport News. And so even just commuting back and forth. And then my children are very active. Like they're in the clubs, they're all in extracurricular activities, and I'm there. I'm an active mom. Typically, is that part of it is difficult because they're all different ages and you want to support all of them. Like, for example, yesterday, the baby's bus was late and my oldest was at Woodside cheering. And my oldest ended up going up to the school to catch the end of the game and to bring her back home because I'm looking for a bus for the almost 7-year-old. And so you have things like that.
Being a parent means knowing that the next time the phone rings, it could be anything.
My husband drives for a living, and so he's on the road getting this text from her, and I'm actually in a meeting in the office, and I'm like, "I'm sorry I'm being rude, but this is my daughter. She's in the closet, and there's someone with a gun."
Even though her daughter was okay this time, incidents like these are strong motivators for enacting change. That and raising children here is part of what makes Angela so good at her job. Clerk of Circuit Court.
When I was originally asked to run for clerk, my first response was, "That sounds boring. It does not sound like anything I would ever do." But I also started to research the position and what is the position responsible for, and can I really make an impact? What I will say most impressed me was truthfully the discretion you have and having a court system, not just in Newport News, but everywhere where people feels like the system is set up against them. And to know in order to get to the system, i.e. the judges and in court, you have to go through the clerk.
The COO of the court system. It's hard to articulate all that it is in the same way that it's hard to articulate all that being a mother is. But without competent people in both these roles, things fall apart. Angela decides to take the job.
We are one of the only offices that interface with every other government agency, from vital records to the city assessors, from the treasurer to the sheriff, to the commissioner, to the Virginia State Police, to the local police, because we handle just a little bit of everything. When you purchase your house, you have to come see us. If you refinance your house, you have to come see me. If you're getting married, you have to come see me. If you're getting divorced, you have to come see me. If someone's passing away, you have to come see me. And so I am responsible for just a little bit of everything. And I tell people that we see people at their absolute best, and I also see people at their absolute worst. In Newport News, we had not had an African American to be the clerk of circuit court prior to me, or a female to be the clerk of circuit court prior to me. We're still in a society and a generation of a lot of first, not just in Virginia, but everywhere.
We are still seeing firsts, but representation in this job is especially important. The Clerk of Courts gets to decide how to enact legislation, so they hold the power to make it easier on citizens or harder. For example, if legislation says that people can use community service to pay for court calls and fines, it's up to each court how they accept those community service hours.
And so you're making it extremely difficult for the community to be able to operate in a court setting. Whereas in my office, in order to use community service to pay your court costs and fines, if you submit us your hours on a letterhead and whoever supervised it, you have them sign off on it, we're going to apply it. And so I look at things like that. Since I have been the clerk, we've done classes, probate classes, expungement classes. We do resource fairs. I'll have a resource fair in November. Last year, we advocated for domestic violence, and we collected toiletries and we donated them to some of the local organizations that focus on that. And then on that same day, we also had different clinics and a one-stop shop for the public where legal aid was there. The Genealogy Society was there. So bringing the court and the clerk's office directly to the public, that's something that I have focused on as the clerk. And so essentially, if you come in the office, I cannot tell you this is how you have to proceed, but I'm really working extremely hard to give my community resources. So if by chance they have to go to the office, then they at least know where to start. So I've grown the office since I've been the clerk, where before we had about 21, 22, now we have 26. What I would want people to know about the Circuit Court Clerk's office is that we work for you. When I ran for office, I would say if someone's elected in any capacity, then they're elected to serve. I start every meeting with my staff. We work for the citizens of Newport News, and I stand on that.
If you go into Angela's office, there is a wall of former clerks. Angela is the first mother on that wall. Visit our website, truthbetoldcommunity.com, to find out ways to get involved and share this episode with friends. This series was written by Jackie Glass and Hannah Sobel, edited and hosted by me, Nicole Hill, sound design by Trindell Lightburn, and our work has been supported by the Virginia African American Cultural Center through a grant from the Virginia Tourism Corporation. Follow our work by subscribing wherever you get your podcasts. We couldn't do this without people brave enough to share their experiences. So thank you, Angela Reason.